What's up, Sixers Nation? Today's video, we're going to be doing a Sixers report card, and this is going to be part one. We're just going to go into the starters for the Sixers, and I say starters in quotation marks because it's been a fluid, starting lineup since there's been a lot of injuries to the big three. But we're going to go through the big three report card. We'll go through Paul George, we'll go through Maxey, we'll go through Embiid, and then also throw McCain in there and Caleb Martin. Even though I know Kelly Oubre and Yabusele and a few other guys have started the season.
Yeah.
We'll get to those in a later part two YouTube video. And before we get into the report card, I just want to first say thank you to everyone that has subscribed to us so far. We're close to our halfway point of 100 subscribers. We're 43 right now. We just started this up, and just want to say thank you to everyone that subscribed to us. Just a reminder, we are giving away $25 every 100 subscribers until we reach 1,000. So if you subscribe, you're one of our first 100 subscribers, you will get 10 chances at $25. Maybe if you win it twice, there can be duplicate winners for this here for you to subscribe. So definitely hit that subscribe button, hop into these. And then we're also going to be going live Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern time, right before the Pacers game on Friday, previewing that, talking more Sixers. We'll be able to pull in all your questions, comments, all that too. We had our first one on Monday, 2 days ago, and had a blast for that one. Had a lot of people hop in there, ask questions. So we're going to do a similar thing too on Friday, and a bunch more too in the future. Without further ado, though, let's hop into things. We're going to start with Jared McCain first on our report card, and he's put up a good stat line, especially as a rookie, putting up 15.8 points per game, 2.5 rebounds per game, and 2.6 assists per game with very good shooting numbers there. So I'm actually going to give him an A+ for this. I know it's a little early to give something like that, but I also did not think in any way, shape, or form he would be the biggest Sixers bright spot. And I mean, you could argue the best Sixer so far coming right out the gate for this team. We actually talked about it in our last YouTube, our live stream the other day, how, it's unfortunate the Sixers are 7-15, but would they even have 7 wins if Jared McCain was not on the Sixers and playing the way he is, which is, we both agree is no, they would not be 7-15. They would probably have 3 or 4 wins right now if Jared McCain was not on the team. So I'm going to give an A+. I know it's a little bit optimistic considering everything, but I have, I don't really have too many negatives to say about him. I don't know about you. What do you have?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, A+. I gave him personally an A. It's hard to give an A+ out there, but he has been as close to as perfect as a fit, as a player for this team that you could imagine. You kind of knew what you got when you drafted him. Hey, he was an elite shooter, which he has certainly provided. That's floor spacing that we've absolutely always needed, especially around Embiid, which we haven't got to see a ton of Embiid and McCain just because Embiid's been out most of the year. But McCain has been phenomenal. The one thing, the reason I didn't give him an A+, sometimes it's just part of being a rookie, adjusting to the league. He does turn the ball over. But other than that, I mean, it caught me by surprise the way that not only his shooting, which I knew he was a great shooter coming into the league, but the way that he can finish around the rim is something that I don't think we expected. I mean, I knew he had the touch around there, but I don't see his Tyrese Maxey levels of finishing. But he's up there, and for his first year, he's ahead of where Tyrese Maxey was coming into his rookie year. He absolutely is. So McCain's been an awesome fit. And I think on top of it, the off-the-court stuff, his personality, we knew that he had some flair to him, right? Being kind of that TikTok guy as he's claimed as, which is certainly true, but he embraces it. He paints his nails and he got some backlash for it, but I think the way that he embraces it and really, the team supports him and they understand, he brings good vibe. You even see the videos with Kyle Lowry, who's a veteran. He's been in the league since, the ancient ages of basketball. I mean, basically when the game was invented, Lowry started playing it. But I mean, it's just nice to see a guy like McCain come in there and just bring some youth and some vibrant energy to the team, which we desperately needed, especially the start to the season. He's kept the vibes high. But on the court, off the court, he's been an amazing fit. And that's why I gave him an A.
Yeah. No. That is a good point with his finishing ability. Not that I thought he was like a JJ Redick, type player coming out of college, but it's kind of the opposite of Maxey, and we talked about this also in our live stream the other day. Maxey was not a shooter in college and developed that game into becoming one of the best. He was one of the best shooters last year in the NBA, and not something I saw for McCain. I knew he was going to be a good shooter, but I didn't know he would be hey, he's good at all three levels. He can hit the mid range, he can finish at the rim, and he hit 3-point shot. I did not think he could really do, one of those three. I didn't really think he could finish at the rim. He's shown good ability to finish with both hands there. Not much negative to say about him. And not only has he produced well, he's also brought very good vibes to a team that has not had a lot of good vibes in terms of like the record and what they were sought out to be preseason. So super happy with Jared McCain. And as you can see from our ratings right here, A+ and A. Can't get much better than that. So
and even his defense, I mean, it doesn't get talked about. He is, for what he brings in his size and his athleticism, he is a solid defender considering his frame.
He does have active hands.
If he was a wing, we'd talk differently about him if he was 6'7". But for what he has, he does play physical. He does tend to rebound this. He rebounds the ball. So you got to give him credit there.
Yeah,
but he's for a rookie and what he's brought to the team, expectations.
He hasn't really gotten into foul trouble too, which he is undersized. It's not like he's like a Dembona who like has a he's going to get in more foul trouble just because he's down low, more physical, that kind of stuff.
He's guarding centers, yeah.
Yeah, but usually rookies, they do struggle like getting into foul trouble like too early in a game, stuff like that. And he really hasn't had that issue. So he's definitely, been a high IQ player and, well-rounded. So,
yeah.
Well, cool. No, A+ and A there for Jared McCain. Next, we're going to go to over to Joel Embiid, who is putting up a stat line of 22 points per game, which is very low for him. 8.4 rebounds and 3.6 assists per game. And I'll let you take this one first in terms of like your grade for Joel Embiid so far in the season. Very low, small sample size, but
yeah. I mean, what's he played? 5 games? 4? 5 games. So
5 games.
I gave him a B-. And once again, keep in mind, this is for this season so far. And even a B- might be high. But I always have to, in the back of my mind, consider what Joel Embiid brings to the table, which, when he's healthy, which in those games that he's played, he's been relatively healthy enough to at least give it a go. I gave him a B- just because of what he brings to on both ends. Defensively, he was solid in the Bulls game. I know he started offensively. He was 0 for 6 in the field to start. He started to heat up towards that second half. He played relatively well, not to Joel Embiid's standards, I would say, which is MVP caliber stuff there. But the key with him is health. We know what he can bring performance-wise. We just need him to be on the court. I think defensively, we've struggled. We give up a lot of easy buckets in the paint, but just that presence. We know Joel Embiid is not known for, really his rebounding. That's not the strength of his game. Sure, he's averaging 8.4 a game, which once again, I mean, if he actually has some hops and some springs in that leg, that might be closer to over 10 at that point. But, Embiid on both ends has slightly struggled, but once again, he's coming back and always ramping up from injury. I'm really curious to see how he plays this Friday against the Pacers and just going into the next, couple of games, we start to get on a roll here in terms of really winning some quality games. But Joel Embiid has been, for what we've seen, I think just kind of average, and that's why I gave him a B-.
Yeah, I mean, I have him a little bit below average.
Fair.
In my opinion, C average. I'm gonna give a little bit below that. But it is really tough to, grade them. Right? 5 games out of the, 22 that they've played so far. Very, very, very small, sample size of them. But like you said, he's not new to the league. He's not a rookie. So you see what he can do. I did really like what I saw from him in the Bulls game. He looks not 100%, but he looks pretty good. I know he's been really resting his knee, and it is a tough situation because I agree with the Sixers. I'm like, hey, I want him ready for the playoffs because he hasn't been ready for the playoffs ever in his career. He's always had some kind of lingering issue. But also you need to win some games in the regular season. And they found out very quickly that you can't just get by with just your role players. It's not his fault that Maxey got hurt for a few games and PG's been out too. So it's not like it's just been, just him that has gotten hurt. So it's not all on him there. But there's certainly things too. And we can pull up real quick his stats here in ESPN and kind of his few games real quick there. Hopefully you guys can see that.
Yeah.
His recent games, which is his only games. So he put up 31 points, 12 and 4 against the Bulls in a win. His other 4 games were losses, which is kind of weird because, every single year he's been on the team, they always have a crazy good record with him on the court and a below average, record with him off the court. The biggest thing is he just doesn't play every single game or 70 games or anything like that. He's just usually playing 50 to 60 games. And with this pace right now, he's not going to play that. He's probably going to play 30 to 40 games in the season. He's already said he's not going to play back-to-backs and all that. So I'm going to give him a C minus. It's tough. Like, I'm not going to give him a D or an F or anything like that, just because, like, I understand the situation and all that.
Right.
But he also, like, in some of the games, like, 11 points against Miami Heat, which a team that knows him very well and has played very well against him defensively. 13 points against the Knicks, 20. So, like, two bright spots here. Hey, 31 and 35 here in his last two games. I know they were a few weeks apart, the Bulls game and the Grizzlies game. But I am optimistic that, I'm not saying, like, has turned a corner in his injury or anything like that, but, is getting close back to what his old self is, which is a, 30 point per game guy and just an absolute dominant force in the NBA.
Yeah. I mean, I totally agree with the grades, and or at least your grade. I see where you're coming from. I just gave him a slightly higher nod just because what he comes with and the name Joel Embiid and kind of how great he is. It's hard for me to drop below there until we see enough playing time where we can say, hey, this guy is, past his prime, or he's washed, or whatever it might be. But we haven't seen enough, and he's coming off a decent performance, and I just need to see more out of Joel Embiid, as we all do. So,
I mean, in reality, it really should be a undefined grade, or like a TBD.
Right.
Especially as we're just talking about this season. We're not bringing in other seasons, stuff like that. But hey, we're hopefully get to see him more in the future. Hopefully he plays on Friday. I don't see why not. He had a very long week off, 4 days off, so we should be able to see him Friday and see how he looks there. So that's Embiid there. So we're going to stop sharing there, and we're going to go over to Tyrese Maxey, a guy that has missed Joel Embiid the most out of anyone, in my opinion. Right now, he's averaging 24.3 points per game, 3.6 rebounds, and 5.2 assists there. It's very good stats there. He is shooting poorly, and we'll show his ESPN stats in just a few moments here. And I gave him like a C+ on the season, so a little bit above average in my opinion. C. I have as average, so I'm giving a little bit above average. Some may say it's a little low considering like his stats there. If you look at 24, 3, and 5, that looks very good, right? I have him as C+, maybe be a little too harsh on him, but that's okay, right? Like, this is a guy that has put in a lot of work, has improved a lot, and I know Maxey's potential and what he can be. And I think there's a few things that I've noticed throughout the first quarter of the season here that I'd like Maxey to fix. Shot selection has been poor. I know a lot of those games there was no Paul George and Joel Embiid, so he's been asked to do a lot more. And put up 20, 30 shots on those games. Great. But some of the shot selection could be better. And there's also some games where it's just weird, where like he's kind of checked out at points, which I never really seen from Tyrese Maxey. My head goes right to like Tobias Harris, right? Like, there was how many games and times were there where it's like Joel Embiid's out, okay, you got your highest paid guy on the team, Tobias Harris, or third, depending on whether Harden or others guys too. But like, there was games where Tobias Harris was the main guy out there, and guess what? He put up 15 points, or maybe barely scratched 20 in those games. He never really rose to the occasion on those. And there were certainly some times this season so far in games where he hasn't done that, which has been uncharacteristic of Tyrese Maxey, who has shown in the last few years that he can be that guy that rises to the occasion, which is why a lot of people in this whole separate conversation think that we should build around Tyrese Maxey. And I'm assuming some of you have seen this season why that's not a good idea. And that's not the reason for this video. That's a whole separate video that we could talk for 20 minutes about. But that's why I'm giving a C+. Shot selection's poor. He's turned the ball over a lot. And there's been games too where he's just been absent.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're spot on there. I gave him a B. Like you said, he's kind of had a very up and down, inconsistent season. The reason I gave him a slightly higher grade than you, the main reason was just because that, I think what he's had to do without Joel Embiid and even missing Paul George for some extended time on and off, and even Maxey was coming back from injury at this point. He's fully back. Just kind of looking at how he's played, it's been tough, but at the same time, I think he's played well enough in some of those games where I had to give him a B. I mean, he either has a great performance, it feels like, where he's dropping 30 plus, or he struggles and he's under, 10, or he's taking bad shots. And the shot selection is something that I want to see him attempt more threes. There were some games where maybe not even more threes, but better quality threes. There were some games where he was taking like triple team step backs, which I understand when you're missing your best player in Joel Embiid, it closes up a lot of typical lanes that Maxey might have because Embiid, if you look at him on the court, his gravity, he typically demands a double team most plays, which is going to free up someone. Even if it's not directly Maxey, maybe it's Caleb Martin, whoever, or Oubre, whoever else they're helping off of. Then they move over and Maxey's wide open. So I think the reason that we see his percentages are down is not due to the fact that he's, struggling. Partly it's him, right? And it goes into that. But I also have to factor in the other pieces that are missing. And that's a big piece there. And that's kind of why I gave him the benefit of the doubt, giving him a B for this season so far. He could bounce out of it. He's not going to make an all-star team most likely this season just because of the way we played, unless he really turns it on, which there's a chance. I mean, he's still putting up 24 points a game. That's no slouch numbers.
40% from the field,
right?
39% from three.
It's the three that concerns me, and I think the shot is still there. He's had some game. I remember watching the Rockets game.
Look at his career, 38%,
right?
40, 46, which are very, very good numbers. And he doesn't need to be at, he doesn't need to be a 40% 3-point shooter, but that's a concerning drop.
Right. It's a big drop. I think that'll change. I mean, he had a triple double in the game when Embiid was back. So you kind of see some flashes there. But Maxey, I think a big thing that Maxey rides his game off of his confidence. I mean, seriously, him being that energetic guy as well. Confidence is a big thing. And that's the same thing with shooting. I mean, shooters, naturally, they will go into slumps. That's basketball. I mean, JJ Redick, you can look at stretches in his career. He's one of the best shooters in the NBA at times, right? But he also had slumps. Like, that's just how it goes. And when you miss your best player, especially the way the Sixers are built, this is going to happen. I'm not surprised. I believe in Maxey. We've seen enough. There's enough evidence to say, hey, he will bounce back from this slump that he's currently in.
He's definitely missing Embiid with the pick and pop, pick and roll,
right?
Too, big body in there.
Right.
Just he doesn't have to. He's not getting double teamed. He's not getting defended by the best defender and like that. Like Embiid gets double teamed, right, and that opens up a lot of lanes for Maxey and other players too. Not just for Tyrese Maxey, but it certainly hurts.
His points are going to go up. His assists are going to go up. With Embiid and the team at full health, and his shooting percentages will 1,000% increase. They just will, because that's the way the team is structured. And that's the way basketball works. You have your best players out there. There's a reason that Embiid demands a double team, right? There's a reason that all eyes are on Paul George when he's dribbling and creating his own shot. It opens up the room for the floor for others. So that's how it works. And I think it's just a matter of time. But Maxey overall, he struggled, but he can bounce back. That's why I gave him a B.
Absolutely. All right. So we're now through Maxey, Embiid, and McCain so far. We got Paul George and Caleb Martin to finish up here. Next up is Paul George, who is putting up 16, 5, and 5, which is definitely low for his averages there. He's the guy that replaced Tobias Harris, right? The big free agent signing that the Sixers had this offseason, big name, and they're the guy that's supposed to push the Sixers over the top here. And that's why I gave him, a B-. A lot of expectations coming this season. He's getting kind of on the older side of things. And I think it's showing a little bit. He's already hurt. He's been hurt twice, same knee, both times, been out and missed some games, which has been, showing important for the team here. He could definitely shoot a little bit better, just like Tyrese Maxey. He's not shooting the best. But I do give him a B- rather than like a C- or a C, just because, and it's a little unfair, but like I am comparing a little bit to Tobias Harris, and some of the shots he's taken, some of the games he's played, just amazing, right? Like this is something that the Sixers have very, very much, needed. A guy that can create shots, a guy that can shoot, 3-pointers. I mean, Tobias Harris only shot, 3 or 4 a game. This is a guy that can shoot high volume. He can catch and shoot. He can shot create. He can drive to the hoop. He can play defense too. He's a 3-and-D guy. Can play really good defense there. And there's certainly some games that Paul George could be better. But also just like Maxey, like Paul George will also feed off of Embiid, right? When Embiid's getting double teamed, that'll open up stuff for Paul George, and especially the catch and shoot stuff too will be super important for Paul George, considering there's not a lot of catch and shoot guys on this team. So would like to see more from Paul George. But, I've seen some overblown reactions from Sixers fans that he sucks and all that kind of stuff, too. Let's not forget who Paul George is, right? So B- is my stance for him.
Yeah, that's very fair. I ended up giving him a C+ for this. And honestly, a lot of what you said is very true. His play style if you really watch the games, which I know if you're watching this video, you're a true Sixers fan, so you are watching the games.
The best Sixers fan.
But it's one of those things where it's his play style. It's the way that he's able to create his own shot there. You'd love to see the field goal percentage go up. I mean, he's just been inconsistent this season, and that's the best way to say he's
been consistently consistent.
Right, but he's had two knee hyperextensions, which he's just had bad luck to start. So he's coming off injury 2 times in what is it, a month and a half, whatever it is. So it hasn't been great there, just with health, which no one's shocked. He has a history of injuries, and he's an older player. But I'd like to see when he's on the court, just be more consistent in his percentages, go up there, just shooting wise. But he is able to create shots for himself, which is really refreshing to see. We haven't had a wing that has been able to create shots since Jimmy Butler, really. So to have that out there, it's nice to see. He can also pass the ball fairly well. He's averaging a little over 5 assists per game. Yeah. So I mean, 5 assists per game is not slouch numbers by any means. That's pretty solid, especially from a guy that can also create his own shot. For him to be able to play make and open up the floor for others, it's great.
Definitely takes a little bit of pressure off Maxey, who is, he's not a pure point. Tyrese Maxey's not a pure point guard.
No.
Not what he did, not what he came out of college doing, all that kind of stuff too. So it does take pressure off that, in his playmaking ability too. And you got, 2 solid games here at 29 on Charlotte. He had a really good game. We can see all here against the New York Knicks. I know they lost that game, but a really good game. Shot, 7-11 from 3. Like, you're never seeing that volume.
No.
From Tobias Harris. Probably, I don't even know if he's ever shot 11 threes in his entire career in one game. 7-11 from 3, 10-19 from the floor against the New York Knicks.
I mean, look
at a really good
the
team, and the team that they very well could see in the playoffs.
Right. I mean, look at the threes attempted. He had 7, 3, 6, 9, 11, 9, 7.
6.2 on the season.
I mean,
you'd like to see that 3-point percentage get up a little bit, but that the law of averages, right? Like you're gonna, it's gonna eventually, get above 30%. You'd like to see it more like 35% for him, and it's gonna,
Right, and there's some close games in there. If those percentages, instead of it being 28% from 3 for the month of November.
Okay, so he's shooting 38% in December.
Games,
I mean, just 3 games here. So that's not for the season. Sorry.
Right, but if the percentages 31. Go up, they win some of these close games, our grades might be differently. So this can dramatically shift with, hey, let's put the ball in the hoop there. Like the shot selection it's been decent. And I like what Paul George brings. That's what we went to, before the season started. We said, hey, we know what we're getting with this guy. It's just a matter of consistency. And that's kind of been the theme, at least with Maxey and Paul George. Can they be consistent? Can they put the ball in the damn hoop at a consistent rate? And so far, we haven't totally seen that. We've seen flashes. We said, hey, PG's had some really nice moves, or he's been solid on defense, or he's been able to play make. And there's been flashes, but can they do that on a consistent basis where it changes the mind of Sixers fans? Say, hey, I believe in us. We have a chance to do something special. We haven't seen that yet, but maybe with Embiid coming back and actually playing, maybe for a stretch of more than 2 games, 3 games, we have a chance.
That'd be crazy,
right? I mean, let us see what the team can be, and that's why the grades are what they are so far. And that's why you kind of see the C's and the B's and very rare A.
Yeah, no, not. I mean, we talked about our live stream too, like on Monday. Like McCain is probably one of the only Sixers, if not the only one, outside of maybe like KJ Martin, that has overperformed so far this season.
Only one, yeah.
So we'll certainly do like more of these report cards, throughout the season. They're ever changing, the fluid
for sure.
But that's what they are right now. So, and we're going to finish it off, though, here with another underperforming guy. We got Caleb Martin in here putting up 8.7 points per game, 4.6 rebounds per game, and 2.3 assists per game. And for Caleb Martin, I'm going to give him a D+, which is actually the lowest grade out of any player that I gave. And in my opinion, rightfully so. This is a guy that they gave a pretty hefty contract, not a Paul George contract or Maxey or Embiid, but he's up there. He got $54 million this offseason from the 76ers to come in here and be kind of a 3D guy, right? Like he's performed well defensively, but I mean, man, not as not just like with Maxey with shot selection stuff, but like, man, as Caleb Martin taking some poor shots, has not finished a lot of easy shots too, can't really shoot the free throw well, and his shot is ugly. I don't know what is going on with the shot. I know it's kind of been like that for his career, but it is ugly, and when it doesn't go in, it looks even worse, right? It kind of reminds me of like Dario Saric in terms of the trajectory of the shot. It's a complete line drive. Saric had a better form.
There's no arc.
There's no arc in the shot at all. So I give him a D+ just because he there's a lot of Sixers on this team that didn't get any money because basically all of it's going to 3 guys, and Caleb Martin's one of those guys, and he has not performed well. They basically moved him. I know this is for the starters, this YouTube video, but like he came the season projected to be the starter, and has kind of fallen to the bench because of his poor play. He has not shot 3-ball well, has not shot well from the floor, and all that. So not really too much to hang your hat on with him right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's fair. I give him slightly higher. I gave him a C, which kind of the theme is Mitch is going low, and I'm going a little bit higher with all these guys, which, listen.
Shout out Creed.
It's fine. Yeah. Seriously. But, no, I mean, with Martin, I like what he brings defensively, especially from the wing position. I think this is a guy that, in terms of the regular season, you're kind of seeing what he can provide for the Sixers, which is very little scoring. Interior-wise, he is a decent finisher. Shot selection has not been great. Just even his open threes, although it does look ugly, at least on open ones, it does seem to somehow go in at a respectable rate. Although he has still been inconsistent. That's part of it. When he takes a bad shot, it's a bad shot.
Free throws.
Yeah, but defensively, like what he brings and his versatility, I think will bode well, especially in the playoffs.
Yeah.
This is a guy where you can say,
certainly need him.
But this is a guy where you could say, hey, Caleb Martin, like we need you. We're playing the Celtics in a series, whatever it may be, or even the Knicks. Okay, go guard, OG or McCain. He can match up with those wings, which in the past we haven't had a quality defender. And he's also known, once again, we have to get there, but he is known to elevate his game in the playoffs in the big moments. Now, he had a stretch there a few seasons ago. With the Heat. So it's one of those things where maybe this is kind of just how Caleb Martin plays. I didn't watch every single Heat game the past 2 or 3 seasons, so I don't really know, right? So this is one of those things where I think come playoff time, he's going to be a guy where he can stick on a key matchup defensively, and then you bring him in offensively, whatever. He's just there to kind of space the floor, at least attempt the 3. We know he'll shoot it unlike some players we had in the past. But Caleb Martin, I give him a C. He's just been slightly below average for me, but
it is a little unfair just because this is for every 76ers player. He's being asked to do too much. On both ends. And then especially for him, the glaring issue is offensively. He's being asked to put up 15 points per game when he's really not that guy.
No.
Right? Like he really should be the 5th or 6th option on this team. Like McCain should be a higher option than him. Maxey, Embiid, George, and you can throw in like Kelly Oubre in there too.
Yeah.
So he's being asked to do a little bit too much offensively, and but it's also something like he should also know his role a little bit more with everything going on. Like he's brought up the ball like too many times. Like when you have like McCain out there, or Lowry, or Reggie Jackson, or other Paul George even. Like why is Caleb Martin bringing up the ball and just immediately gets turned over? I swear every single time he brings the ball, it gets turned over, that pass, or they just simply strip him of the ball and bring it the other way.
But you're seeing it right here too. Like the 8.7 points per game. This is something that I don't think is really going to go up that much. You're probably looking at what his season total will be, right around 8.
Efficiency goes up. Yeah.
Right, the efficiency with the help of Embiid and kind of spacing the floor there, and maybe the double team coming, whatever it is, and kind of helping off and creating wide open shots for guys like Caleb Martin or Kelly Oubre and so on, everyone honestly on the team. But 8.7 points per game, I think, is what you look at with a Caleb Martin. It might drop because Embiid's going to demand the ball, and he's going to score a lot of points, and that's kind of how the team is. And same with PG. You hope he gets it going at some point. So Caleb Martin's been fine. I think Sixers fans didn't totally know what they were getting. Unfortunately, his shot's a little ugly. We're going to have to live with that. But, yeah, man, if he can just put it in a consistent rate and not make us pissed off, I think he'll be fine. But defensively, he has been very, very solid, and people really – it's not a glamorous thing when you look at defense. It's hard to be like, oh, my God, he's such an amazing defender. But he has been solid on that end. And I think in the playoffs, he's going to play a big role. Yeah. If we make it, right? Who knows? 10 seed, though.
Yeah, no, there's a long way to go for the season. They're only about a quarter of the way through. A lot of games we played. And for the most part, the only way is up. Like, I mean, just as a team overall, I mean, I know we've nitpicked and pointed out like, Paul George is shooting poorly, or Caleb Martin shooting poorly, or Tyrese Maxey. So like as a team, they are shooting very poorly in the bottom third of the league, and a lot of whether it's field goal percentage, 3-point percentage, a lot of statistical categories, they're shooting very poorly and need to get better. Like their net rating and their average points per game as a team is very low, and could certainly be better. So
yeah,
but yeah, that'll pretty much wrap up our report card video. We're getting we're about to pass 30 minutes here on the show. which is a lot longer than I expected this to go for.
Yeah.
But hey, that's all about the dialogue and the conversation, all that for all these players. We will be certainly posting other parts for the Sixers. A lot of Sixers have touched the floor this season, so we'll probably do at least 2 more parts, report cards, get into the role players who have played a lot of minutes this season. So it'd be fun getting into those guys outside of just kind of the main 5 guys we have so far. So yeah, stay tuned for our report card part 2.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said at the beginning, we are going to go live this Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern time. So if you haven't subscribed already, hit that subscribe button so you get notified when we go live and everything like that. Check out our Instagram. We'll give updates on that too. Sixers.mania on Instagram for updates on like when we go live. We'll probably do similar to last time where we did an ask a question button so that we can get some questions gathered beforehand that we can answer on the live, in addition to people asking questions in real time. So appreciate you all for hopping in here. Hit that subscribe button again, and we will see all of you on Friday.
See you guys.
All right, everyone. Take care.